Hey, I still need a little time to refresh after the catastrophe that was air control. Sorry about that. I need something that's light and easy to play that'll make for an easy and quick review. So I think it's time for an installment of Tales of the Library! I was at the local library where old games that nobody wants come to die, and today's topic is a curious game called Create. The game's box doesn't say jack about the gameplay or what it's about, just Create. Might be interesting, so let's give this game a shot. Alright, I'm going to try and not waste too much of your time with this. Create is one of the most insubstantial, boring, why does this exist games that I have ever played. I shouldn't even give this game the dignity of a review, but this game was made by Electronic Arts, and people love hearing about when EA screws up. So here we are. And EA must have been really proud of this game. Their name appears 4 times when the game boots up. There's their logo. There's their logo again. The EA are the first 2 letters that appear in the game's title, and there's their name again! So this is the game. Pressing the minus button brings up all of the options for tools that you have to customize the area. You've got wallpapers that you can use to recolor pretty much any surface that makes up the level, stickers for objects that you can place on the ground and in the sky, plus props that you can place all over the environment, and paintbrushes that you can use to spread flowers on various surfaces. So if you've ever wanted to be an interior decorator, EA has created the game for you! In addition to these decorations, there are objects that you can drop into the environment, and when you press the play button in the corner of the screen, the objects that you've set will move and interact with each other. And that's all there is to the game. Seriously. Every level of Create is a small landscape with a few flat floors, a few chasms, and a background. There are 10 or so levels, and to unlock new levels, you collect sparks. You get sparks by completing challenges and by completing Create chains. What are Create chains? Well, one portion of the level will have little sparkles glowing off of it, and an icon will appear in the top left corner of the screen. You go through the menus until you find the decoration category shown in the corner, and you use it on the section of the background that's being indicated. Do this 3 or 4 times, and you get a spark. I'm dead serious. That's all you do. The game says put something here, you put something there, doesn't matter what it is, and you get points. You select a wallpaper or a sticker, you click a surface to apply it to, and that's the game. I was going to say that this was like if you were playing with the stage builder in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, only you never actually got to play on the stage once you were done with it, but then I thought, no, in Brawl's stage editor you are actually building something. You have to think about the architecture. You're thinking, wow, this stage hazard is cool, what would be a good way to use it? You're actually creating something. In this game, you're not building anything. All you're doing is painting over and putting glorified stickers over something that somebody else already built. You're not actually creating anything in a game called Create! This is like making a video game around the fill-in and spray paint tools in Microsoft Paint. The controls blow ass. Everything except for your normal objects is hidden in a drop-down menu inside of a drop-down menu, and all of the menu selections are represented by vague pictures unless the cursor hovers on the image for 3 seconds. So trying to find the category of decorations you're looking for basically requires flipping through all of the menus until you stumble onto what you want by accident. You unlock new stuff constantly, and it doesn't take long before every single set of items that you can select has a mile-long list of shit to cycle through to find whatever item you're looking for. And I swear the filter option just flat out doesn't work. Once you've selected the object you want to drop into the level, you can rotate or resize the object. Common sense is to select the object you want to change by selecting it with the A button, but A drops another object into the level. You select the object you want to alter with B, but you have to press B because holding B on accident moves the object. So now you select the action you want to perform on the object with A. If you want to rotate the object, you don't just press A and then select how you want to rotate it, you press and hold A, and keep holding A while you rotate the object. All you're doing is clicking and dragging objects. You'd have to go out of your way to screw up the controls this badly! It's clear that Create is supposed to be one of those find-your-own-entertainment games like Minecraft where there's no real structure to the game, you're just supposed to build your own setups and scenarios using the game's resources, kind of like a really low-budget Gary's mod. You won't get much mileage out of wallpapering levels and gluing shrubberies everywhere, so the real entertainment value comes from the interactive objects, setting up a scene with cars and ramps and whatever other objects you have to work with. building a scene that you can then watch play out. But Create completely and utterly fails at doing this. The overwhelming vast majority of the items that you can unlock are decorations that you can't play with. I unlocked an airplane and I was actually somewhat excited, well, not excited, curious at what the plane does, and it turns out the plane is a prop, not an object. It does nothing except sit in the background. The only objects that I've unlocked so far are cars and objects to screw around with the cars, like ramps, balloons, and anvils and shit. You get rockets too, but they can't be steered. They just fly off and then they're gone. Now, decorating and painting the background is going to get old pretty fast, and when the only objects that you have to play with are cars and heavy things to drop on the cars, there's just flat out nothing to do. You can create and play with any scenario that you can build and construct, as long as your scenario involves cars and either balloons, ramps, or heavy objects. I've given this planet 15 suns, created a fleet of static jet images big enough to invade Canada, and I've dropped anvils on a convoy of cars. I am officially out of shit to do. And besides, the entire game is 2D and all of the levels are tiny, which means even if you do unlock much better items to play with further into the game, there's not much you'll be able to do with any of them just because of the limitations on the game engine. They wanted to make a build-your-own entertainment game, but they were too lazy to actually do it. So despite the developers' intentions, the only parts of the game that have any entertainment value at all are the challenges, little puzzles that you solve by placing objects in the environment. But the puzzles are, I'm searching for the right words, trivial. Most of the challenges only give you one or two objects to use. The sheer lack of options makes the puzzle solution plain as day. The difficulty doesn't come from figuring out how to finish the challenge, it comes from trying to figure out A, how the objects work, and B, where the hell you're supposed to place the object to make the physics engine behave itself. Take this challenge for example. The objective is to get this ball into the tunnel so that it can set off the cannon. The objects you get are a ramp, which doesn't really help, I figured out, and a springboard that you have no idea how it works. Placing a springboard on this top platform does nothing. You have to bounce it off the top platform to the ground and then bounce it into the tunnel. Simple puzzle, but it takes several tries to figure out how to place the second springboard so that it frickin' works! Shit! Shit! Oh, come on, that didn't work! Where the hell am I supposed to place this thing? Damn it! Ugh.
Suck my balls, Doc.
Ah, finally! And pretty much any challenge involving the use of fans requires about twice as many fans as you think it will, since the fans are so weak, not to mention all the time it takes to line up every single fan. Most of your time is spent just clicking play, seeing if the objects are lined up correctly to finish the challenge, adjusting everything and clicking play again, just trial and error until the challenge is complete. This challenge, there are two objects with balloons tied to them, and you have to get both of the objects onto the floor in the middle of the room. I spent about 8 minutes on this one challenge just shifting all these fans around until these damn balloons went in correctly. Can you think of anything else you'd rather do? I can. How about playing an actual game? Some of the challenges are contraption challenges, where you have to build a structure or some basic vehicle to try and carry an object to the goal. But these challenges suck too. You're given 5 pieces to build your contraption with, 2 kinds of blocks to build structures, drive wheels which act as running wheels for vehicles, and girders and hinges to connect the other 3 pieces. Now, do you see a problem here? There are exactly 3 things that you can build with those pieces: a bridge, a ramp, or a car. So these challenges are easy as piss to figure out, because for every single one of them you will build either a ramp, a bridge, or a car. The only reason these challenges are any degree of time consuming is that the controls are ass. If any 2 objects touch each other, they immediately super glue themselves together, and unless you're trying to separate 2 blocks, there's no way to take the pieces apart again. If you misplace one piece and it attaches itself to another piece, you have to delete a piece and then place a new one somewhere else and then try and move it into position correctly the next time. And look at this mess. I've got 2 structures that I'm trying to connect them together to carry a booth to the finish line, but my top structure, which has 2 hinges, hits the booth and the pieces get bent out of order. I tried to bend these girders and bars back into shape because I need the girders to both be vertical, but the entire frickin' structure rotates at once. Why can't I rotate the individual bars? Each of these bars is connected by a hinge. They should be able to pivot on their own without without any trouble. Why does the whole goddamn thing rotate at once? Screw it, I'll just see what happens. Okay, I guess I get points for that. I have more fun building random crap with my spare Legos than building these pieces of junk. Why do these controls suck so much ass? Why is everything coated in glue? Why do joints only bend when the game feels like it? The kicker is that these challenges give you up to 6 sparks depending on how well you do, and you get more sparks in these challenges for using fewer pieces. So you're actually encouraged to be as minimally creative as possible. Build something as simply as you can. The only time the game really comes alive is during the Score-tacular challenges. In these levels, you have to get a go-kart to the finish hoop, and you're given access to all of the objects that you've unlocked so far. You can build whatever you want to get the kart to the finish. But even these levels aren't very well executed. For starters, these challenges are built around getting a high score, but the game doesn't tell you how to earn points. Aside from going for the score multipliers, you have no idea what you're supposed to do to rack up points. But the main problem with these challenges is the same problem I mentioned earlier, the lack of variety in the objects. The vast majority of your objects are completely useless, and most of the ones that do have a function are so finicky they're not worth using. Take this puzzle, for example. Getting the first score multiplier requires using the balloon because no ramp can be positioned correctly to get it. The only way to detach the balloon is to drop a spiked ball on it, which the ball doesn't float in the air, it falls to the ground as soon as you hit play, and I swear the first time I played this challenge, I could not find a single spot where the ball would fall and pop the balloon without demolishing the cart. So I'm stuck with the balloon because you have to attach it at the start of the round and I couldn't find a way to detach it. The only remaining solution is to use fans to guide the cart to the goal, because no other objects that I have will interact with the cart while it's in the air. The whole wide world of items at my disposal, a grand total of 2, are useful, and they're the same ones that half the challenges revolve around anyway. So not only are most of the items useless, the handful that actually have a purpose make the challenge piss easy. Now, you're probably noticing a recurring theme with this review, what with me constantly reusing the words piss easy. There's absolutely nothing to do in the game except complete challenges, and the challenges are ridiculously easy, require almost no thought or ingenuity, they offer pretty much no stimulation of any kind. Not only is this game boring, it's a special kind of boring. The current record holder for most boring game I ever played is 1912 Titanic Mystery, and I will say Create is a little better than Titanic Mystery, because it does require a very slight degree of thought, but Titanic Mystery had an intriguing story to con you into continuing through the game. Hercules: The Legendary Journeys was boring as shit too, but you got to go through labyrinths and fight minotaurs later in the game. The game eventually got better. In theory, because the Minotaurs in the Labyrinth sucked shit also. Create doesn't have a story, and once you get to the second level and see the challenges aren't very different from the first level, and you see that you just keep getting the same items that look slightly different than items you already have, but they still have no use, you figure out pretty quickly that Create isn't going to get any better if you stick with it. There is zero reason to keep playing the game past the half hour or so. The only conceivable reason you'll keep playing it is if you actually paid money for this crap, God rest your soul, and you're desperate to convince yourself that you weren't ripped off. The problem with Create is pretty simple. It shouldn't be a video game in the first place. The gameplay, right down to the game's core concept, is far too limited to have any stimulation or entertainment value. If there were bigger levels and a significantly better variety to the objects you could actually interact with, the game would still suck because there's nothing to do, but it would at least feel like they gave a crap. I would not be the least bit surprised to find out this game was intended to be an app. One of those casual games your kid plays on your iPhone when you've dragged into a party full of boring adults, but then EA forced them to release it on the Wii instead. That's just my guess, it fits with EA's MO. And you might say this review is unfair since I didn't play to the end. I quit halfway through levels 2 and 3, but that would assume that any of you actually played this. I just didn't want to waste any more time on this boring shovelware shit than necessary. So, you know what I did? I marched back to that library, checked out Injustice, and played that over Thanksgiving holiday. Yeah, screw this, I'm gonna play a real game. What now, bitch?
How about an arrow up your ass?